Well, as far as the kitty of collection of taxes is concerned, there's very little legroom that Pranab Mukherjee has to give away any freebies.
Exactly.
But as always, the pressure will be on him to get back the middle classes, as Shopanda had mentioned, he could do that by raising the exemption limits, by giving certain greater interest subventions as far as housing loans are concerned. He hasn't done it in the last 2 years, though the expectation has been there. But expectations at this stage are running high on that
But
front.
that doesn't make a budget go into history.
Exactly.
A broader question is this, that when there is a sense you get from the dynamics, the momentum. My question is to you first, Lord Desai, and I want to take this question around before I wrap this chat up. Do you feel Pranab Mukherjee at this stage of his political career feels that a budget is any longer, a moment of history? Or is he just chugging along, taking the system along best he can? Is there any vision that he really can share tomorrow?
Well, I had this sort of private feeling that this is the last great budget Pranab Mukherjee can actually present where he has relative freedom. Next year's budget is more or less going to be populist. And he may feel that his place in history would be defined by this budget. Because after this Lok Sabha...
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, if he wants a sense of history, this is his last shot.
So what can he do there to get there?
I mean, he can just, okay, my hope, rather my expectation, he can go into a lot of things we are asking him to do.
Yeah.
Maybe rolled back, but at least people will say, this was a budget which was a great budget for
the people.
For the people.
For the economy. Budget.
And for the people.
You don't think, Pranab Mukherjee didn't give a sense last time, did he, Subhash, that he thinks that going all out for reforms is going to be his tryst with destiny?
Well, you asked whether this budget is going to be momentous, right?
Yeah.
Now, in that sense, there are only two things that could make it momentous, right? One is GST, the other is DTC. Really, if you look at it, everything else is outside the finance ministry stuff, really, right? It involves all the other ministers. Whatever he says in the budget has no meaning or relevance beyond a point, other than, saying what the government is thinking.
Yes.
Now, the GST is out. If he can introduce the DTC, that I would look for. That would be a bold move for sure.
You think that can happen?
That's true.
Manisha Priyam, from your perspective.
I think as a political leader, just initiate that process of political dialogue. The GST, apart from the fact that there is, this issue of compensation, the other bit is the issue of arbitration. The same set of issues which are holding the NCTC back are the set of issues which are holding the GST back. So what one would expect is really Pranab Mukherjee, the policy planner, and Pranab Mukherjee, the great political leader, coming out with some way of looking at the sentiments of what are likely to be his political partners, even if the Congress came back to power next time. So I would see him as a person who could really put a budget that would put profligacy to end, that would call a spade, cut out some of the subsidies, and in fact rationalize what are policies for the poor. I mean, that I would see as really a momentous moment in history, when even the populist policies, so-called populist policies, are reined in by some sensible, rational and economic thinking on that front. That's a pro-poor budget, in fact.
Swapanda.
You see, Pranab Mukherjee has distinguished himself as a very good, adept political manager.
Yeah.
That's his real strength.
Yeah.
That he's a realist. He is not marked for being a visionary. I think the space which he sees his role is how can you tie up the loose ends, politically manage to get a budget through. So I think he will be looking at that package of what is feasible under the circumstances and try to put a nice packaging to it, right, of course. But I think the main thing is how do you get this budget through without any hiccups? That will be
Do you think the government will be more determined to make its point? Especially to Mamata Banerjee, if it has got the numbers together?
I don't think the government has the will at present to make any point to Mamata Banerjee. Certainly Pranab Mukherjee will not be wanting a frontal confrontation with Mamata Banerjee for obvious reasons, that if tomorrow Mamata Banerjee can undercut everything of Pranab Mukherjee.
That picture's on your screen, 1919, that's the, gentlemen, I want to invite your attention. What I say, Pranab Mukherjee, that's Pranab Mukherjee, 1982 budget.
Wow, he looked young. Wow.
He was much younger. That's incredible.
Dr. Rajiv Kumar, what do you think will be Pranab Mukherjee's approach to the budget tomorrow? Will he want to make it a momentous budget, or will he do just a practical budget tomorrow?
Well, he'll always do a practical budget. But I think within the realm of practicality, he will find that he can do take some steps which will be momentous. For example, he probably could announce the end of the diesel subsidy. He could announce tomorrow an allocation for GST for the states, and he could tell us that there will be no allocation for food subsidy bill. I think those are the three things that if he does, I will think that the budget has gone a long way.
I'm sorry, I'm saying I'm going to stretch this program because what you're saying is going to invite some opinion. That's what he's asking for there, Dr. Rajiv Kumar, is a hard-nosed situation where the government says, we're breaking free, enough of all this. Yes. We're going to break free, and next year we'll go all populist. But for this year, we'll earn the brownie points, saying everything that held us back, because now is the time for us to be remembered. And the time to be remembered has come. No, Navika, it's a possibility.
Remember or not, Pranab Mukherjee has nobody else to do the troubleshooting for him. He's the man himself who has to present the budget.
Why would the Prime Minister not support him?
Dinesh Trivedi can offer a budget, but Pranab Mukherjee is also the leader of the House. He's got to get the parties to go along with him. He's got to be his own troubleshooter, and he won't do anything that will upset the cart.
I mean, he will have the Congress leadership support in doing this.
Anvil, that's the end of GST for the next year also. Because the states will accuse him, how dare you jump the gun? We haven't arrived at a consensus.
And he's a realist, as you say.
And he's a realist.
No,
he's not
diesel
going to
three points which
subsidy.
He raised.
I mean, I may not go to the extent of Meghnad by saying that the budget speech won't be allowed to be completed. But there is not a single person within his own party also.
And food subsidy.
Without the petroleum ministry agreeing, you can't do it.
Yeah, and food subsidy, if you were to say no allocation for food subsidy, then he might as well pack up.
No,
he may get away with that.
He may get away with that.
He may get away with that.
I think Rajiv has put down a wish list which I would love to sign up to. But I think this is what we rational, good economists would like Pranab Mukherjee to do.
Isn't that a contradiction in terms?
He's a practical politician, and he is not going to do that way. He will do something which would be dramatic, perhaps DTC.
No, I'm trying to understand what the DTC is.
Because DTC is neither populist nor costly.
Since you have just accused Dr. Rajiv Kumar of being an irrational man. You accused him of being an irrational man.
No, I said rational economist.
Rational economist.
Rational economist.
DTC is going to have
I own up to being rational myself.
Yeah.
And I see him as one of us. Economists. I mean,
let me just tell you a small little nugget from the economic survey, which really says the political mindset at this stage. And this is a reflection on what could be the Lokpal bill, where again the federalism comes in. It says, while we need to ruthlessly crack down on corruption, it must at the same time be recognized that the fear of a large and cumbersome anti-corruption bureaucracy can be detrimental to risk-taking and may hamper legitimate activities in public institutions. Now that is a political statement in the economic survey. The political realities are there to stay.
The economic survey is written by economists, and that contains more or less pure economics, the rational economics which Meghnad was alluding to.
But there are only political statements. There are political statements in the economic survey like
that's a passing mention. That's a passing mention, really.
No rational economic policy reforms actually assumes they require autonomous regulators, anti-corruption bodies. So this is definitely a political statement. It's not a rational economic statement at all.
Yeah. That's the government's position also.
Yeah.
Of not having a strong anti-corruption body? Is that the government's position?
And as far as the DTC is concerned, I don't think once the fine print of the DTC comes into the public domain, I think you're going to see a lot of minor explosions.
Yeah.
Let's not be so sanguine about that the DTC is some great reformist measure. It threatens the return of a raid raj and a return of corruption in a very, very major way.
So play safe or reformist budget, what's the vote?
What's the vote? Let's take a vote.
Reformist.
Reformist? You're sticking your neck out?
Yeah, because I agree that something has to be
reformist.
Reformist to the core. Even populism will be reformist.
I would like a flat income tax of 20%, but then you're not going to get it. I think
what is the budget going to be?
The budget is going to be realist.
So play safe.
Given the pace, given what the political compulsions are.
Yeah. Dr. Rajiv Kumar, what's your verdict? Is it going to be a play safe or a reformist budget?
It's going to be a reformist budget. I think they have played safe long enough. And they have played safe long enough, and I think they will have the Congress party's leadership support in breaking free this time, because that is what they did in the nuclear deal, and they gained out of it, and they will again break out this time and give themselves a new lease of life.
I don't rule out that either, though we are not supposed to vote. But the bottom line is this: at the end of the day, sometimes when politicians decide our time has come to give it back, they respond in very different ways. It's not always rational, Navika. So on that note, we wrap this up.